Hey people, welcome back. So in this section we're going to be looking at something which is more enigmatic and which is so enticing as well if we can understand it. So we're going to be talking about this universe. What is it, man? Like, why do we exist, or what's the purpose of it? Well, we say that it's the place for us, or it's the home for us to live, and then say what's the purpose of us living? We don't know what's the purpose of our existence. Well, because we live, because the universe lives, and because the universe wants us to live, because we are just an entertainment purpose for them. Makes sense, right? Like, if you have some power, you will create something, and that's what the universe did. And we literally had this tremendous possibility to not exist, and we still exist, and we don't know why. And when we try to understand it, we don't get it. It's not, we don't have this comprehensive skill, we don't get the main key tools to understand it. So let's start off with this, what we know and what we've been told. So we had some guys telling us about the Big Bang theory, as most of us would probably be aware of. We have been said that the universe came from this hot little singularity, and with the time 10 to the power of minus 31st second, it just exploded, and we all just came from this football. It came from this football, and it started expanding. Not football means the literal meaning, it's just the size. So we had some initial matters, the particles like hydrogen, which occupied like entire the space vacuum at first, and we've been still conferring that the hydrogen still occupies 70% of this universe. So at the starting we had matter and antimatter. You might know where I'm going. So why the peep that the antimatter does not exist right now? When both the elements came into existence, why only one survived, and where did the other one go? We don't know, man. We don't know the 90% of the question you ask us, but we don't know that. Leave that. So we had this antimatter and we had this matter. Why does it that the matter's proportion is more than the antimatter? And after the annihilation took place, why does the matter only existed? And the answer for that is simple. The antimatter has literally unstable condition, and the matter had some it can at least stabilize itself through the passage of time. But after that we still have some antimatter left. It's not like we've completely ran out of it. We have this 99.999% of the antimatter left, but we don't know where to find it. So we humans had these laboratories to invent them, putting on trillions of dollars in the name of scientific research. Yes, that's what we did, and that's what we have been doing, and that's what we will do. So yes, so how does this expansion takes place, man? You just keep saying expansion. It's just a cloth to just elongate it. Oh yeah, the best way to simulate our universe is to take example of the cloth. When we stretch the cloth, it elongates, right? Let's suppose this is the universe. When we stretch this stretchable entity, it just keeps elongating, right? So this elongating entity, right, this little simulation is what we call the space and time fabric. Without space we do not exist, and without time we cannot exist. So this little fabric, space and time, is just a playground for most of the particles which has mass and energy. Obviously mass is energy because E is equal to mc square. So when I try to expand it, like when I try to elongate it, elasticity just increases, right? The modulus of elasticity. So after this, when I put some mass or any energy over it, it bends. This is not bending, but the cloth would literally bend. So it bends and it wraps the space-time fabric, causing the other particles put around it to like have a force to get into the center of the wrapped structure. So that's that's what happening in our solar system right now. The sun, which has mass, just has this force, gravitational force, which had been applied to all the planets around it, causing a centripetal force, and which causes us to take an elliptical path around it, right? So when we consider a lot more galaxies around us, we can tell that the object which is in the center of the galaxies are really huge, and which has some enormous mass, so that it can really wrap the space-time fabric around it, causing the objects around it to have the gravitational force towards it. That's how we work. So it's like a superpower, right? When you have mass and enormous energy, you can run the time slower for you. Yes, we can do that. It's a superpower, but we don't have enough mass. We are like insects compared to that. Yeah. So when you put a heavy mass over this space-time fabric, it's gonna wrap it, and by means of wrapping it, it literally attracts the time towards it, and it bends time. It's bend time. So after bending it, and after that time goes like far away from that fabric, it's gonna return to its normal time. So while this bend time, like that, while during that phase, it's gonna run slower for you. Yes. So why need to worry? Most of us would have probably seen the movie Interstellar. Miller planet 1 second, Earth 7 years, right? So in that case, Miller planet would probably have like more mass, like 7 times the mass of our Earth, so that it can really bend the space and time fabric, causing the time to run slower around it. So if you can't go near the sun, you will literally experience time running slower for you. After coming back from there, you would really see everybody's been old aged, except you. So that's how the time behaves. The more mass, the more you attract things, and the more slower the time runs for you. So you can literally attract anything with energy and vibration. About what our Sir Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, you would have to think about the variation of in terms of in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy, right? To come to think of it, you can literally attract anything with the frequency in which you're vibrating in. Like if you want to have some good things to get attract towards you, you have to really vibrate in a good vibe. So this fabric, right, it just elongates, right? That's what I just said. So if it does so, do we have any possibilities of being torn apart? Like, dude, that's what really happens when you really stretch a rubber band or any cloth so much that the elasticity of it really reaches its maximum, thus tearing it apart. If that's the case, then we would have been torn apart really far before than we think, because we are running into the space we don't know what's behind that. And I have this little ridiculous conception that if our universe reacts to mass and energy and gets attracted to the more energy part of the fabric, why don't we why don't we are just running behind an object which is more intense, which is more enormous than our current universe, that our current universe is actually falling towards it? Makes sense, but I don't know if it's right or not. So that's it, mates. We have been told that we came from the Big Bang and we are existing with no, I don't know what's the purpose, and we serve this entertainment purpose for our universe, and we're gonna end up, I don't know how we're gonna end up, but most probably we're gonna end up in the cold, freezing, deadly universe with our black holes ran out of its energies to consume, and all the other planets, all the other sun reaches supernova and just turns into the white dwarf or any brown dwarf. And so we conclude that our universe is more enigmatic than we think it is, and when we try to understand it, we miss this basic tools to really understand it, and we try to find it. So that's it, mates. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, I don't compel to give a like button because you know what to do. Good night.